Howdy, y'all. Welcome back to another episode of Who Knows Best. I'm your host, Cassie Bollinger, and tonight we got a special guest joining us, Sarah Ferullo. She is an absolute powerhouse when it comes to vendor events. She's built an incredible team of 35 consultants, 20 of whom she met through these events, guys. She's here to share her passion for vendor events and how they've shaped her business. Her top tips for growing the team. We are so excited to have her here tonight. Before we dive in, let's just introduce the rest of the gang. We got
Lisa WaxyCat.
So, Sarah, if you want to just kind of tell everybody a little bit about yourself, and I will go ahead and spotlight you if I remember how. Yeah, there we go.
Okay, hi, my name is Sarah Ferullo. So I'm going to give a little bit of my background and my Scentsy history. I am a mom to 5. I have been with my husband for 15 years, and I'm kind of recently a mom to 7. I have my nieces with me for the foreseeable future. So I have 7 kids in my house. I do work a job besides Scentsy. I am dressed in my Cub Scout uniform because I am a leader for Cub Scouts, and we just got back from our meeting. And I also volunteer in my church. So I'm a super, super crazy, busy lady. And I can attest to the whole saying that the busy people make the best consultants. I have been using Scentsy since 2004, since the very beginning. Way back before there were rules about where you could sell and set up, I found Scentsy in a flea market. So I used to work in a flea market, and there was this table full of wax. My very first 2 scents were Skinny Dippin' and Camu Camu, and those are safely locked in my club because I love them still to this day. But I never had any intention of selling Scentsy. I've done 4 other direct sales companies. Not that I was that crazy jump ship, but I wanted, basically, when I joined these places, I wanted a discount on things I was already buying. And nothing really ever stuck. And my sponsor asked me for 3 years to join Scentsy, and I kept telling her, no, I'm happy where I'm at. Even if I was just like making enough to cover my own purchases, that's all I wanted. Then Mrs. Potts and Chip and Harry Potter were announced. And I had already purchased from her 5 months in a row. I literally said, okay, sign me up. I need a discount on my own purchases. She had a recurring shopping link open for me every single month so that, well, not every month, but every time I would place an order, it would go on a shopping link so that I could get host rewards. And we used my host rewards to get my kit for free. And then I did the math. I was like, okay, I need to sell 5 Mrs. Potts warmers for mine to be free with my commission. Easily sold them. Same thing with Harry Potter. And I was like, okay, my sponsor told me that I hit shooting star. And I was like, wow. She's like, you're actually super close to sensational start level 1. I was like, if I can hit these goals without even really trying, what can I do if I like give it my all? So that's exactly what I decided to do. The biggest setback for me at the time was it was COVID. It was 2021 when I joined, and we also moved to a new state where I knew not a single person. We were in a new state, in a new city during COVID again. So it's like I can't exactly go out and meet people and do in-home parties, but our fair opened back up for the first time. Luckily, the previous Scentsy consultant who had the fair spot, something happened, and during COVID, she decided to stop selling. So there was an opening. So I took the county fair spot, and that was my very first vendor event that I did. So that was back in 2021. I still have customers to this day that shop from me from that very first event that I had. I have some of those people that come to see me and give me hugs every single year, and I can see their kids growing now because I'm at the same spot every year. And some of those people even joined my team. So I wanted a way to meet a lot of customers really quick so that I could jumpstart my business. I did end up earning Sensational Start Level 3, and last October, I promoted to director. So in just under 3 years, I became a director. I earned level 3 of the Hawaii incentive, and I am on my way to earning Greece. My husband is now addicted. He's like, you need to earn every single trip because I want to travel Scentsy style all the time. So we are working towards Greece. And again, I'm doing that with vendor events. I have, during the fall and winter, I have an event every single weekend from the beginning of August until Christmas. I heavily load my calendar to do events because, again, it's the best way to get the highest amount of sales quickly and to grow your team. I have a team of now 37, but 22 of those came from vendor events. I had people buy the $99 kit right in my booth. And the way I do that is if they're spending at least $50 in my booth, I let them know that they can join for a discount. If they come in and tell me that they're addicted to Scentsy, I let them know that they can join and just be a personal shopper. If they come in and say, oh, this is dangerous, I'm going to go broke, I say, this could be a way for you to make extra money and get your Scentsy for free. And that is how I get people hooked and get people to join. I tell them there's no pressure. I was like, you don't have to go and be a crazy sales lady and message all your people, message people from high school that you haven't talked to in 10 years. I don't like that. I don't like it when people do it to me. I highly discourage it. Like, you don't have to be like, hey girl, hey, I'm doing a party. You want to be a host? Please don't. So when they find out that there's like such little pressure to joining, they're more willing to say yes. And then I always, always, always do a launch party, even if they are joining just as a personal shopper or a personal discount. Because a lot of times when they see how easy it is, or when they see how many of their friends and family love the product anyways, they're like, oh, wow, I earned $150 in free product and 4 half off items. I'm going to get a $200 paycheck. Like, this is crazy. I have 3 friends that want to host a party from my party. Then they see, okay, maybe I can do this, even if it's just part-time. And then I get them added to all of my groups. So I have a team chat and a team Facebook page where we do our monthly trainings. I think that having that connection, that's another reason why I joined, is I wanted to make friends. I didn't know anybody here. We used to travel for a living. My husband was a Boilermaker, and for 5 years, we lived in an RV and traveled the country. So I wanted to make friends because I'm in a new place, and it's hard to keep friends or have those stronger connections. Like, I know we can make connections through Facebook. Like, I love Lisa, and I wouldn't have met her if it wasn't for Scentsy. And we've only seen each other at SFR a handful of times, but we still talk on Facebook. And I wanted to have a place where I could have those connections for other people, especially people local. A lot of people on my team wanted those friendships and connections too. So that led to monthly in-person team meetings so that we can still grow those connections with each other. And I think that helps keep each other accountable to reach our goals when we know we're all chatting every day about, hey, it's October 1st. Where are we at with this incentive? What are your goals for October? What are your goals for the holiday collection? And when you see what other people's goals are and what they're doing to reach those goals, it makes it easier for you to reach those goals too. And back to the events, you want to do events to get customers, right? It's not just a, hey, I sold a wax bar and have a good day. I hope you love it. And hopefully I'll see you at another event. You want to get those customers in your database. You want to get them in your workstation. I am a huge fan of Project Broadcast. So sorry, hang on a second. So with Project Broadcast, there is actually a way that you can create a QR code. When people scan the code, it can pull up a form that you also create to collect all of their contact information. I get their name, their address, their phone number, their email. I ask them questions if they'd be interested in getting free Scentsy, meaning they want to host. I ask them if they'd be interested in earning extra income or traveling for free, because that opens up a joint conversation. I also ask them if they're interested in any fundraisers. And then I have all of that information saved, and now I can follow up with them. I can find out how they liked their warmer, if they need a refill on their wax, if they wanted to do a fundraiser for their cheerleading squad. And now I have all the contacts. Instead of just making a one-time sale, I'm going to build those connections and those relationships and keep having a customer for life. Some of the customers that I have that I met through events didn't even purchase from me that day. Some of them said, hey, I have this warmer that isn't working anymore, and I don't know who I bought it from. I bought it from some party, or my Scentsy person doesn't sell anymore. And then I get their information and I process the warranty for them. So there's this one girl in particular, she did not place an order. I just did a warranty for her warmer. She has hosted so many parties. Her friends have hosted so many parties. All of them have Scentsy Club. So it's not a big deal that she didn't order that day, because she has ordered so many times since then that if you don't want to put in the 5 minutes to do a warranty claim, like, you could have just lost a lifelong customer. Payment wise, I have like every payment option available because I don't want to deter somebody. I will accept Square, I do Venmo, I do Cash App, I do PayPal. And then I totally lost my train of thought. Oh, that's what I was going to say. I do not put prices on any of my products because I don't want somebody to walk up to a diffuser and see $150 and be like, "Ooh, I'm not paying that," and then walk away. I want them to ask me, "How much is this?" And then that opens up the conversation to, you can either join and get this at a discount, or you can host and potentially get it for free. So that way, I'm not just losing out on a sale, I'm potentially gaining even more sales by doing a party for this person who doesn't want to pay $150 for a diffuser. The Scentsy diffuser is the first time I ever hosted a party because I wanted it and I didn't want to pay full price. So I use that as a booking tactic in my events by not putting prices on anything. I do organize my shelves by price point to make it easier for me to know when someone points to a warmer, hey, how much is this? I don't have to sit here and memorize prices for 100 different warmers. It's, this shelf is all my $50 to $55 warmers. I put the 50 on one side and the 55 on the other side. So when they point to a warmer, I know, hey, that was a $55 warmer. I also utilize flash sales. Oh, sorry. There we go. I utilize, so I'm in my car because, oh, my ring light is dying.
Oh no.
Okay. Again, with the kids being too loud, there's no way I could do this inside. So, where was I at? I don't remember.
Price point, and you have it separated by 50 and 55.
Oh, yeah. And then I was going to say I utilize flash sales so that I can get items at a lower price point. And then that also helps me work in deals. I know for me personally, I have a hard time selling the $50 buddies, but they'll sell for 40 or 45 all day long. So if I get, like when we had that buddy bonanza last summer and we had all those buddies for $20, you take a $20 buddy and sell it for 30. And then you can take a $50 buddy and sell it for 40, and you're not losing money, but you're still moving the product. You're still gaining those customers and those contacts. And the other way I utilize Project Broadcast is with keywords. If someone is interested in Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter or Disney or Star Wars, I have them text me that word. The great thing about Project Broadcast is you can personalize your messages, but you can still send it to a lot of people at one time and still make it feel personal, because you can make a text message. Hey, Jody, I know you're a huge Star Wars fan. Look at what's coming for Star Wars Day on May the 4th be with you. But the name changes for every single person you send it to. So if I have 50 people interested in Star Wars, I'm not spamming them by sending them princess information when the princess warmer comes out. I'm only sending them the Star Wars information. And I do this for customers or people that I meet that don't even make a purchase. If we're having a conversation and they say that they like something but maybe don't buy it, I have them text me that word so I can let them know about things coming out in the future. And if they buy a Star Wars warmer, I'm going to manually add them to my Star Wars keyword so that when more Star Wars products come out, I can tag them, be like, hey, I know how much you loved that Star Wars warmer last time. Look at what's coming. I think you should add it to your collection. Now you're not being a spammy salesperson because you're not sending the same text message to 600 different people. You're having a targeted audience and sending them the things that will most likely interest them. And then you're not necessarily being a cold message person either, because you know that you're sending them something that they're most likely going to be interested in. because they've showed interest for it in the past. And the last thing I do is I also have another QR code that links to my VIP group on Facebook, because I do most of my advertising, I guess you could say, through social media, through Facebook, like probably all of us do. And I want them in my VIP group. So I always do, hey, if you scan this code and join my VIP group, I do a drawing from everybody that was at this event, and I would love to get you in there to see if you can win the free gift. Now, my gift always changes. It's usually a car kit, because I want them to keep coming back, because they can only get pods from us. So they do the mini fan, and the pod is the gift. I use host rewards to cover this, so I'm not coming out of pocket with it. But I don't tell them what it is, because if they're in there trying to buy a car kit from me, I don't want them to not buy it, because they're going to hope that they're going to win it. And so if they did buy a car kit from me, then I'll just gift them something else. And then how I find events. I utilize the events tab on Facebook the most. You can customize your date range on Facebook. You can choose, like when I wanted to fill my October calendar, my date range started from the last weekend in September to the first weekend in November. That way it would make sure it would cover all of the October dates, just in case any of them fell on a weekend. And then I start messaging people. You want to make sure that you message, the event coordinator. There are lots of scammers on these event groups on Facebook. If you just post in there, hey, are you still accepting vendors? You'll get messages from 10 different people saying, hey, yeah, we're still accepting vendors. This is the booth fee, message me. You want to find out who the event coordinator is, contact them directly. And if someone asks you to pay with like Cash App or PayPal, friends and family, don't do it. You want to go with somebody who will let you, like if they only accept PayPal, but they do it through goods and services, that's okay, because they know that it's more of a legit, if you're going to get scammed, if that's not a real event person, if you do it through goods and services, you can get your money back. But if you do it through friends and family, you can't. So utilize Facebook events. When you're at your events, network with other vendors around you. Ask them where they're going. Ask them where they've been. Some of the events that I've done this year, I learned from events that I did last year. So a lot of the ones that I've done this year is for my very first time, because I wanted to try something new. And one of them, like, I now set up at an auto fest, and it's one of my biggest events of the entire year. And it's a freaking car show. Like, who would think that, oh, Scentsy's going to do so well at a car show? But a lot of times those wives and girlfriends are there supporting their husbands' hobbies. And then it's like, okay, you go look at those car parts over there. I'm going to come check out this Scentsy booth over here. And I've also done gun shows, and the same thing happened. If you just spent $500 on a gun and you don't want your wife to be mad at you, bring her home a warmer and some wax, and she won't even care that you spent money on a gun. You thought of her while you were out. So don't be afraid to think outside the box and try events that might be outside of the norm, like besides a craft show, and give it a go. Like, don't be afraid to try something new, and don't be afraid to have those joint conversations right there in your booth, because they can be life-changing. And that's about it.
Oh my gosh, I have written so much. I can't even tell you. I like filled up a front and back of a whole index card, because
I love it.
Like, love this. I've done a couple events, but I'm in Texas, so it is very hard, because most of our events are outside. And I'm not one. I have been going to craft fairs since 2000 with my mother, and it was not always a fun time for me. So I always have that bad taste in my mouth. But I've been trying. I anytime that there's like a church or anything I know is indoor with the schools around here, I always try to get, because I want electricity and I want AC, because I'm a big girl and it's Texas, and I'm not sitting outside when they're like, oh, it's going to be 89, 90 degrees. It's fine. I'm like, no, that's hot in Texas because of our humidity. So I didn't even think, when you brought up the gun shows and the car events, like I didn't even think about that. So it's something to think about. But I love it. I mean, the way that, like, you had all the information and you answered almost every question I had. I do have a couple, but because I know people are going to ask this. So one of the questions I was going to ask was like, where do you find them? So all of your events that you've booked, like when you're like, hey, I have 2 weekends open, you are just finding them through Facebook or from networking from the previous events?
Almost every single one of them, yes.
Okay.
I have utilized my local chamber of commerce in the past. I have used, so there's a couple websites. There's festival.net and Eventbrite, BRITE.com. Those are two websites that I've used to find events too. Those websites, though, sometimes, like if you use them too much, they want you to join and become a member and pay fees. And I don't do that. Yeah. I'm like, if I can find free events on Facebook, I'm not paying a fee to find an event through you. So, but it was free the first couple times I searched for events near me. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Do you like, I know that some people, sometimes that when you get an event, the fees. So do you kind of gauge on what you're wanting to pay? Like if you knew it was only going to be 4 hours and they're like, oh, it's $200, would you do that event?
No.
Okay.
Nope. If it's a 1-day show, I try really hard to not pay more than $75.
Okay.
And even that is pushing it, because when I first started doing these events, those 1-day shows were 25, 35, or 45, not 75. And a little trick I wanted to tell people, if you pay $75 for an event and you sell $75 in retail, that doesn't mean you sold enough to cover your event fee. Mm-hmm. You want to keep in mind how much your commission is on that product. Yeah. So if you're making 25% commission, I shouldn't have used 75, let's say 100. You only made $25 off of that sale. So you did not sell enough to cover the cost of that event. That's where a lot of people get in trouble, is they think that, oh, I paid $75 for this event. I sold $75 in product. I made my money back. But you didn't. You want to do, like I signed up to do a Comic-Con, and it's going to be super scary for me because I don't even know if I want to say this out loud, but it was an $800 event fee. That means I have to sell $3,600 to break even.
Yeah, but what kind of, is it just where are you located at?
Oh, that might help. I'm in Michigan, so this one is in Detroit.
Okay. I was like, I knew you were East Coast. I was just trying to think of like, because we have California and then I'm in Texas. Okay. So, but the Comic-Cons,
people don't realize that, like, yeah, you might not, maybe you won't sell 3,600 there, but all of those contacts that you're going to get could end up being way more than 3,600 later on as well. Yeah.
That is so true. And that's something that I had to explain to my husband. My very first event, I had my host exclusive kit, my shooting star enhancement kit, and a handful of personal wax that I hadn't used yet. My booth fee, that was weird. Between my booth fee and my tent and my tables and all of that, I'd made nowhere near enough to cover that fee. But yet 3 years later, I still have customers that I met at that event that still buy from me. So in the long run, that event was successful.
That's what I went to my very first event with my starter kit and the fantasy wax collection, which was horrid. Okay. Horrid. Like literally, I don't know what that was, but that's all I had. And I still have, like, from today, I still have team members from that event. And I still have customers that I met at that event. And I literally had nothing but my freaking join box. That was it.
Right. Yeah. So I keep mine very, oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, I keep mine very simple as well, because I'm real big on diffusers, because everybody's seen our warmers. And I've been trying different things only because it may look like I have a lot of stock, but these are my buddies. Like, these are mine. So
yours.
Yeah, those are mine. These are I'm a buddy fanatic. Like, I love the buddies, but I don't have a lot of inventory. And even if I had a whole bunch of warmers, I don't have a vehicle that I can take things with
to haul them all.
I have a little compact car. I take 2 tables. I take the electricity. I take diffusers. And then I take a ton of shades because I want to show them how they can be interchangeable. And I try to make sure I have majority of them in, like, current. Sometimes I don't, because sometimes they discontinue like they just did on all of my shades. So I've gotten a couple of new ones for my events coming up, but I'm still getting back out there because I started in 2020 and Lisa
Okay.
did as well. So we're actually newer. We're the two newbies out of our four because, Jacqui's been in 13 years and Robin's been in 11, I think. So we're still the newbies, but we did start during the pandemic. And so I was never doing I never trained myself to do events because everything was shut down.
We weren't allowed to go outside.
Yeah, we weren't allowed to talk to people face to face.
Yeah.
So when events came back up, I was very scared because I knew how much work my mom would put into doing hers. And she did painted glass. So she had to pack up glass. So at least it wasn't like she was just taking jewelry, small things. I got to see how hard it was to like load and unload. And in the beginning, I watched a lot of like DPP, and I like how I store my warmers now. The ones that when I change them out, I do it how she does it. I take all the boxes, everything out. They're just bubble wrapped. All light bulbs are removed because I can just keep them off to the side and when I'm moving stuff over. But events, now that I know how to do that, I'm trying to decide if I want to do events, but I just don't have a big enough car to take things. And I don't want to upgrade. I just paid my car off, so I don't want to try to get a bigger one. But
I feel that.
So, okay. So when customers come up, so you had said, there was different ways that you had talked to them. So if they were spending $50 or more, you were letting them know that, kind of go over that again, because I know you said that you'll get them for $99. If they pay $50 or more, you'll get them in the $99 kit. I was writing, but you were talking and I was trying to get all the information down.
I can't listen to write either.
I know. Well, I was like, because I'm so excited. I was like, ooh. That's why I kept writing so much. So someone comes up and they're wanting to buy a $50 warmer.
Yep.
I guess kind of give people examples of what to say. Because that's the biggest thing I think a lot of consultants have is like, I don't know what to say or how to say it. And it's kind of like, once you get an example, then you can kind of like make it your own. But it's I don't know what to say to them.
Yes. So I start out very simple. Did you know that you could partner? Hang on. Sorry. Okay. I tell them like, did you know that you could partner with Scentsy and make money back on your own purchases? Just like super simple, make money back on your own purchases. Awesome. You can join just for a discount.
Okay.
And then they don't always want to do the $99 kit. Because that's one of the questions that I usually get asked is, oh, well, how much is it to join? I don't tell them it's $99 to join. I tell them, we have ways where you can join without having to pay anything. Mm-hmm. And then I show them the different options. Like right now at my events, I'll talk about the Earn a Kit. I'll talk about the $40 join promotion. I'll talk about the host exclusive kit. I was like, if you want to get a little bit more stuff in your kit, you could do this one. Or I was like, if you want all the things, you want to do the $99 kit. But I just start out with, did you know that you can make money back on your own purchases?
Okay. I think that's the hardest thing is that I am great behind a camera. I'm great with talking about things, but I still get nervous face to face with people because again, I started my entire business online doing lives because there wasn't anything open.
I'm the same way until you can ask me anything online and I'll tell you. But in person, you're like, how much is that wax bar? And I'm like,
what do you want to pay for it?
Yeah. I am the exact opposite. Like I am shaking so hard over here. And it's like right now it's just the three of us. Yeah. And I'm shaking so hard. But when it comes to events, I kind of feel like it's fair game that if they're stepping foot in my booth, they chose to be there. So I can talk about Scentsy all I want. I'm not that scammy lady.
I didn't think about that. Yeah.
It totally opens up and gives permission for me to tell them all the things because they chose to be there.
You came to me, so you're going to hear it.
Yep. Yeah. See, that's awesome. See, because my story was very similar to yours. I hit Shooting Star. I hit Sensational Star 1, 2, and 3. But I was that person. I didn't do the hey girl, hey, but I did message all my friends and family. And so there were people from high school that I hadn't really, like we had talked. It wasn't like I never talked to them and I've like friended them and then asked them. But it was more or less like, I didn't ask them if they wanted to buy Scentsy. I was just like, I just started, started my business, and I just wanted you, will you look at the products, or do you even know what Scentsy is? Because I just need to be
Right.
able to talk to people. And I was very upfront with the people I know, because I'm pretty blunt with like people I know. So I was just kind of like, I just need to be able to talk about this. So like, ask me questions so I can try to get ready. And I ended up getting quite a few of my teamies that way, just because they're like, oh my gosh, I've been trying to find a consultant because I've bought Scentsy for 10 years. And I'm like, oh, cool. But it's, but everybody's, again, I did all my stuff online, and it was, I I don't know. I'm awkward. I'm awkward text messaging because I don't know how to do that, the small talk, And so
Right.
now thinking about how you said that, like when they're walking up to you, I don't need to ask them how their day's going and if they found anything. I can just be like, let me tell you about Scentsy because you've come
Mhm.
up to me, and that like makes me feel so much better, because then I worry about like, how are you doing today? Have you seen a lot of stuff? I always feel awkward. So
Right.
I love that. I really do. So Project Broadcast, I was overwhelmed with Project Broadcast. Um,
Yes.
it is one that I know once you get like, I know things have to click for it, but I think
Mhm.
I waited too long. I spent 4 or 5 months on Project Broadcast, but I never quite could get the concept. And I was like, I'm spending all this money and it wasn't working for me because I didn't know how to do the campaigns. I didn't find out later until like someone broke it down, and I was like, well, I'm just I guess I kind of copped out. I was just kind of like, well, I'm not going to pay for it right now because I'm trying stuff that's free, because, we've tried, I think within our little group, we've tried a lot of different things. And so I love that someone is able to utilize the Project Broadcast in a way, like, you really make me want to try it again. Just the way you
I think you
explained it.
should. So I had Project Broadcast has their own like in-house training videos. And when you watch their training videos, you get credit, like your text credits.
Okay.
So each video you watch, like a lot of them are 10 credits. So that's 10 free text messages I get to send just from watching their training videos.
Huh. Okay.
I had to watch the training video to figure out how to do the QR code with the form for the event.
Right.
I was like, I can't just figure this out on my own. It's not, I feel like it could be way simpler and way more user friendly to just go in there and figure out how to do something. And it's not. I'm going to be straightforward. I still, like, if I wanted to create a new one of those forms, I would have to rewatch that training video to make a new one. But the amount of, like, the return has been so worth it.
Right.
Oh, and that's another, after they fill out my event form, I send back, it automatically sends them another text message thanking them for filling out the form. But then it also has them customize their experience, because I don't want to text them about every single thing if they don't want to know about every single thing. If they only want to know about catalog changes, or if they only want to know about flash sales, they can choose those things, and then I add them to those keywords. So I have a whole folder basically of people that want to know about flash sales. And every time we have one, I only send it to those people because I know that that's what they want. And then I have a handful, I call it a handful. It's actually my biggest folder, thankfully. They do, like, I tell them, like, if you want the VIP treatment and you want to know all the things that are coming and want to know about all of the deals that I offer, choose VIP. And I have them reply back. They'll reply back VIP. They'll reply back seasonal. They'll reply back flash sale. So I know where to put them, so I'm not spamming them.
Yeah, I think the other problem I had is I've had my phone number forever, and I had a lot of kickback from my friends because they're like, "Well, I didn't know what number to text you back at," and I was like, "What do you mean, like my phone number?" And they're like, "I know, but you have this, you got a new number," and I'm like, "No, it was a business line." Like, I explained to you guys because I didn't opt, because I didn't just put them in there. I sent kind of a thing. I was like, "Hey, text this number if you're wanting to get, updates from my business line." And it was,
Right.
again, I didn't understand all the process of it. So I really kind of failed at it. And I knew if I had taken more time, or if I had actually sat down with somebody who'd done it, it probably would have been better. But I think I mistakenly as a new consultant tried like 50 things at once and was trying to figure out what stuck.
Yeah.
And I was bombarded and overwhelmed. And I was like, I never did anything like full all the way through. It was kind of like, I tried this, I tried this, I tried this.
Yeah.
So
I actually have two family members that text me on a regular basis to my project broadcast line instead of my personal number.
yeah.
So
I think
yeah.
that was the reason I stopped, because it was my best friend and she was trying to call through that number and she's like, your number's disconnected. And I was like, what do you mean? What? I said, my number, I've had my number now for like 20, my gosh, 20, my daughter's 28. So yeah, 28 years. So yeah.
How?
Yeah. How? Well, because I had to have it. Like,
No, I'm saying, how do you have a 28-year-old?
oh yeah. I have, my husband and I, we have two 28-year-olds. Our daughters are 3 months apart, different marriages. And my youngest is 18. She's a junior, or she's a freshman in college.
Okay,
So,
because you look 28, so.
oh yeah. Oh, look at you. No, Robin's our young buck. She's in her 30s. We're all in our 40s.
Okay.
I have a grandbaby actually.
Oh.
He'll be 3 this month on the 23rd. 23rd. Yeah. So yeah. I'm so young with life.
Yes.
But oh my gosh. So I love the events. I love hearing about them. I know. So do you take a lot of inventory? Like to
I
your
do.
normal? Okay. So are you in an SUV? Do you take a trailer? I see so many people do so many different things.
So we used to have a truck and I loved using the truck, especially so a couple weeks ago I had a 4-day event, then 2 days off, then another 4-day event. When I had the truck, I wouldn't unload it. The only thing I would take out was the wax. But now our truck got totaled and we haven't gotten a second vehicle yet. So I do have a 7-passenger SUV and both of the back rows can fold down all the way. So I can put my tables in there. I bring everything in totes that are on wheels so I can wheel them around. So I'm not lifting all that.
Yeah.
And honestly, I try to not do a 1-day event anymore because of how much that I bring, because I want to maximize my time. So I bring a lot of things to please a lot of people. Back to that very first event, I had so few wax bars that people were skimming through and they literally said to me, I don't want to buy you out. And I think that was their nice way of telling me that I didn't have anything that they liked.
Yeah.
And I noticed that the more stuff I had, the more stuff I sold. So I like doing events that are at least 2 days long. I do have a handful of 1-day events that I still do. But if it takes me 2 or 3 hours to set up and then an hour to break down, I don't want to do a 5-hour event. It's not worth it. Sometimes if I know it's going to be a really good event, there's a town called Frankenmuth, which is the Christmas capital of the world. Literally, look it up, Frankenmuth, Michigan. I will do 1-day events there anytime I can find them because they're worth it. I've done a 5-hour event and sold over $3,000.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So those ones, yeah, I'll go ahead and spend 5 hours total setting up and breaking down for a 5-hour show because it's worth it.
Yeah.
I didn't really talk about what my biggest sellers were. Of course, wax. I always bring bulbs. My mini fan and pods are my main focus because, again, with the pod products, I want people coming back to me. I've noticed that people $30, $35 is the happy range that people are willing to buy. You have those people that love Star Wars and Lord of the Rings that are more willing to pay more money for a single item because it's a cult thing, fan fiction. They love it so much that they're willing to spend the money.
Yep.
But for the most part, people don't mind spending $30. When you ask them to spend $50, $60, $70, that's when they're more hesitant. So I focus more on the smaller priced items, and then I sell a crap ton of buddies. Every event I go to, I sell multiple buddies. So if you're wondering what to bring to an event, wax, bulbs, buddies, and mini fans and pods are my biggest suggestions for those.
Awesome.
That's because moms are here, I'm going to be here a while. Let's give the kid a buddy to shut it up, and then I'll be shopping.
Yes.
Oh, I do. I used to do buddies. I even had my dad even built me a PVC. It's kind of like a tree. So it had
Ooh.
like it was really cool. I still have it. It was a great idea. But
And
we
then you
never
decided to keep all your buddies,
and then
Cassie?
well, I in the very beginning I was purchasing a lot of things. And then I had a lot of extra stock, and then I was like, I need to do events so I could kind of get rid of some of this stuff. And I did. I finally got rid of down to the point where it's just like, I may have 20 extra warmers, but they're like warmers of the month. But buddies were my biggest thing. I was not trained very well. I would buy like 5 or 6, just
Mhm.
hoping that someone else would buy them. Because at the time during COVID, do y'all remember everything sold out?
Oh yeah.
Everything. You would get on there. If you waited 5 more minutes, they were gone. So we
Horrible.
were buying 5 to 10 of them just because we knew people wanted them, but they weren't lasting long enough on the website just to
Yeah.
keep it up. And
It was
I,
crazy.
it was,
Totally.
yeah. I mean, COVID time was hard because there was, I mean, we ran out of cotton cleanups for a while. You could only get them in the Scentsy Club. So
Yeah.
I was taught to stock up on things, and then I realized I was stocking up, and then I wasn't selling them, and then
And then we ran out of spray nozzles.
yeah.
It was wild.
Hey, COVID was hard. We were running out a lot of things, but they did everything they could have. Like, we found a new distributor. We're going to be sending these out. I mean, Scentsy, I will say that Scentsy bent over backwards just to make sure that we survived through COVID. Because no
yeah,
matter
for
what the
sure.
delays were or whatever we didn't get, they were making sure that we found another way to get those products out, even if it was a different color nozzle. Because I think the counter cleans had black nozzles for a while, and
Yeah, it was black for a while. Yeah.
then we got there was something else that they changed up on us. But that's my love of Scentsy. Like, I just love the stuff. I honestly only started because I needed cleaning supplies during COVID. That's the only reason I joined up, because I couldn't find cleaning supplies, and why not buy something for myself and at least get some money back? That was it. And after 2 weeks, it was, let's see. Yeah, I was 3 days shy of my shooting star. All of a sudden, I was like, I've already gotten like $200 in just like orders from my friends. What if I actually put this on Facebook? Like, I was just messaging people. I wasn't putting anything on Facebook other than like, hey, I'm a consultant, like one time. And it blew up. I got like 1,700 or 1,500 by the end of the month in 3 days.
Amazing.
So, but I love it. Like, I would love to do events. I'd love to be that person. I'm still trying to work on getting parties. Like, that's where I'm at. Like, my business no longer can just be online. I'm like regressing back and trying to like build up my basics, my business again, because I'm still learning social media. I'm finally getting on the TikTok and all the other things. So
The TikTok.
the TikTok. Hey, I used to call it Tiki Talk. Just like I called the chat what didn't call it Snapchat. I called it something else.
Quit meowing. I'm on the video.
That potamus.
Yes.
Okay, so if you had, what advice would you give to a brand new consultant who wanted to do events, but honestly didn't even know where to start? Like, if you could give them 5 things, or maybe a small little list of what they need to do if they want to do events, but they're just not knowing anything. Like, they are brand new. They may not have even gotten their kit yet. What would you say?
So right now is the perfect time. Contact your local schools or your local churches to see if they're having their holiday craft bazaars and see if they're in need of a Scentsy consultant. And don't be afraid to set up and just have a display and collect orders. There's nothing wrong with, hey, I just got started. This is all I have, but I'm super excited. Do these events to book parties and collect orders. I actually collected, I printed pictures of the Cousin Eddie's RV and put that on my table and collected pre-orders for it. So I wanted people to know, hey, this is coming. If you want to be added to my list about when it comes out, go ahead and send me your information and I'll get you a total as soon as I have all the pricing.
That's awesome.
So contact your churches. Don't be afraid to set up if you don't have a lot of stock. See if you have a friend or your sponsor. See if your sponsor does events and see if you can shadow them. I offer that to my team, that they can come shadow me at events so that they can, I call it event training, so that they can see how I do them. They can see me in action. They can see the wording that I use when I'm talking with people in a natural setting, and get tips for how to do events for themselves. And get the contact information. Yeah. I don't care if you bought a scent circle. I don't care if you only bought a $2 light bulb. Get their information.
Lisa, do you have anything?
No, I think I was going to ask about like if you would do an event with little stock, but we already covered that. I mean, I did my first event, like I said, with my kit, like not like barely anything at all. So no, that was my main thing. Because I know a lot of people are worried about that. They're worried about the fact that like, I don't have the money, and we're so big on, we don't want you to carry inventory, you know? So people need to also realize that you can use your host rewards to buy stuff, and then you are making 100% profit if you use your host rewards. Yeah. So
most of my product came from host rewards. Now, my passion was the Disney. That's why I joined, was for the licensed items. So of course, you all know we don't get, we can't use our host rewards on licensed items. So I do pay full price for those, but I attach them to a party. So pretty much every single wax bar I sold, I got for free. So it's just 100%.
Yeah, 100% markup.
And a girl on my team, she set up, please, please, please follow compliance and listen carefully. She set up a display in our mall last weekend for an event that we had. She got a new teamie and 2 party bookings from that event.
Yeah, displays are big, like displays locally, or I mean, you can have a display up year round at a place. You don't have to just do an event. Like you can ask your local, I mean, everywhere in town if they'll let you set one up. So yeah, those are huge. I love those.
I love this. I seriously have learned so much, and I can't wait, because I do have 3 events. I like to stay to my small events, but I'm really going to, I'm going to just remember, if they walk up to me, they're mine.
Yes. They chose to be there.
They chose my table. So I'm going to try not to have the nerves, and I'm just going to be like, this is Scentsy. And I just love that you were able to kind of just give us some words like how you flow, because again, online, I can do a training. I do Zoom parties. And so I can talk about the products all day long, but you get me face to face with someone and they walk up and I'm like, how are you? And I wait, and I'm like, because I'm like, I don't know what to say to them.
A little tip for that too. I categorize my wax by fragrance family. My containers came from the Container Store, and they're called photo bins. And I categorize them all by fragrance family. And my biggest question, because I kind of like to let people do their thing. I don't want to be like right on top of them, like that car sales guy, like following you around. But if they're smelling the wax, I always ask them what scent types they like, because I don't want them in the bin with stuff that they don't like, smelling one after another that they hate. I want to guide them to something I know they're going to love. So I do ask, hey, what kind of fragrances do you like to have at your house? Do you like fruity? Do you like bakery stuff? Do you like fresh and clean? So I can guide them where they need to go.
Wow. Well, I hope that you guys all got some great notes and that you typed it down. This is Who Knows Best. We are just Scentsy consultants. We're talking about our business, ins and outs of what we do. Sarah is our first guest. So we will be definitely having some more. That way you can kind of get an insight of other things that consultants do that we don't normally do, or maybe we don't do as well. So if you have any questions, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe, and comment below if you want to reach out to Sarah. I'll make sure to tag her on our YouTube podcast, and we'll have some more information I'll get from her. So if you have questions about like what kind of shelves or anything else, we'll make sure to get you all that information. Guys, I am Cassie Bollinger, and this, the little picture down below
Lisa WaxyCat. And did you hear Potamus? He totally just meowed right at the right exact time.
We love having Potamus on. So
Potamus.
we can't wait to see you guys next week. But just remember, if you haven't been told today, we love you. You are strong. You are important. You are worthy. You can do this business. Find where you fit in and learn everything you can about it. We will see you guys next week.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sarah.